Well, no better place to start this one than with the death of George H.W. Bush at the ripe old age of 94. And some, like Q, are wondering if H.W., codename Timberwolf, which shares a common ancestry with the domestic dog, didn't die on November 26th. Q linked to this tweet from Joe Messapos asking the question when Comey's dog died. Q notes, state funeral next week. Coincidence? And at Jamie JALFT on Twitter worries they will use this to shut down Congress, delay H.W. Bush in state, wasting time and taking focus off D5 and much more. And guess who might not have to testify? Comey and Lynch. Though Comey will likely refuse to show up regardless, Lynch is scheduled to testify on D4. Jeffrey Epstein's civil trial begins the same day, and Huber is supposed to update Congress and testify on D5 about the Clinton Foundation, while the DHS report on voter fraud is scheduled for D22. A busy week and month, perfect timing for HW's passing to distract the nation. And while, out of respect for the office of the president and etiquette as the man sitting there now, President Trump must utter pleasantries about George H.W., we will dispense some important truth for the record. 94 years of life on planet Earth. Each of us is given the choice when our feet hit the ground, spend your time doing some good or doing bad. And I think it's safe to say that by almost any measure, the Bush family, lieutenants in the international banking alphabet agency New World Order Army who reported to puppet masters like Rockefeller and Rothschild have done mostly bad. After all, it was George H.W. who gushed about his vision for a new world order more than 200 times as president.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
Even then, as a child, I knew something was wrong. I just had no idea how wrong, how messed up it was, and how bad it was going to get under the iron-fisted rule of bloodthirsty tyrants like George H.W. Bush, the Clintons, and CIA creation Barry Soetoro. I always like to say the Bushes created the Clintons back there in Mena, Arkansas with all of that CIA drug running. Gary Webb tried to alert Americans to the truth.
Good investigative reporting does ruffle feathers, and it draws lawsuits, and it gets newspapers in trouble.
And they whacked him for it. They whacked these two poor young boys who stumbled upon some nefarious CIA deeds in the woods too, and dozens of others, hundreds probably, just in this country. Hundreds of thousands, millions around the world. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya.
We came, we saw, he died.
There is a trail of blood leading right to the front doors of these globalist families. Perhaps that's why George Herbert Walker Bush told Texas journalist Sarah McClendon in 1992, "Sarah, if the American people ever find out what we have done, they would chase us down the street and lynch us." McClendon had asked him, what will the people do if they ever find out the truth about Iraq-gate and Iran-Contra? See, right back to Mena, Arkansas CIA drug running, arming the Contras, and making then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton a made man. If you want the Hollywood Cliff Notes version of the Mena, Arkansas drug running story minus the Clinton body count, Tom Cruise made a movie about it. But back to George H.W. His pops was Prescott Bush, a Wall Street investment banker and globalist thug who tried to lead a coup of the United States government in 1933-34. To hell, you say. That's impossible. Nope, it's all true. And retired Marine Corps General Smedley Butler, a true American hero who they tried to recruit to lead their plot, blew the whistle. It was called the business plot, and these soulless, greedy, Constitution-hating bankers wanted to create an organization of veterans with Butler in charge and use the quasi-military group in a coup d'etat to overthrow President Franklin. It's all on the record.
I appeared before the Congressional Committee, the highest representation of the American people, under subpoena to tell what I knew of activities, which I believe might lead to an attempt to set up a fascist dictatorship. The upshot of the whole thing was that I was supposed to lead an organization of 500,000 men, which would be able to take over the functions of government.
So Prescott Bush and his bankster buddies went to jail, right? Nope. Prescott Bush went on to be United States Senator of Connecticut from 1952 to 1963, and his son George H.W. went on to become the director of the CIA and vice president under Ronald Reagan. and ultimately President of the United States.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush,
You think the American people would have been informed about his family's shady, seditious, treacherous past long before he could be implanted in the White House. But no, the mainstream media in the United States was captured long ago, prior to 1933, I'd imagine, since Prescott Bush never served a single day in jail. But now he's dead, and his son is dead. Each of us is given the choice, the free will to do good or to do bad during our time here. Prescott and George H.W. made theirs. And while justice wasn't served while they breathed on planet Earth, rest assured they are paying for their crimes now. And while we're on the topic of this criminal family which helped bring the Clintons to power, it's amusing to see Bill and Hillary as the power they coveted for so many decades slips through their fingers like so many grains of sand. President Trump, who actually loves the country in which he was born and who has vowed to defend it and its borders as opposed to helping to overthrow it, fills arenas to the brim with red-blooded Americans to hear his common-sense patriotic rallies, while the Clintons' 13-city tour, one of which has been canceled in Sugar Land, Texas, which began in Toronto, Canada this past week, failed to fill more than 17% of the seats. And while Hillary, who still can't believe she isn't president, chokes on the bile of her hatred for the Constitution and for President Trump,
I started worrying at his inauguration.
the vast swamp in Arkansas, which the Clintons and the Bushes helped to create, is in the process of being drained, with the help of the DOJ's 757 and U.S. prosecutors who are utilizing the more than 4 million documents and 200 gigabytes of information they seized, information collected from the Department of Human Services in Arkansas, to send legislators, politicians, and lawyers to prison. According to CorysDiggs.com, they have already convicted over a dozen individuals in one case alone, several of which are former or current legislators, and one former senator has already begun his 18-year prison sentence. And there are a slew of other individuals listed in indictments. Furthermore, on January 4th, 2018, the Justice Department launched a new investigation into whether the Clinton Foundation engaged in pay-to-play politics, that means bribes, folks, or other illegal activities while Hillary was Secretary of State. Evidently, the FBI field offices in New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Little Rock have been collecting information on the charity for more than a year. And while we still have precious little faith in the FBI given its propensity to raid the homes of innocent DOJ-protected Clinton whistleblowers like Dennis Nathan Cain, the fact that the Clintons are under any scrutiny at all is surely only the case because the witch isn't in the Oval Office, and this man is. It's said that Hillary warned her minions during the election that if that son of a bitch wins, we'll all hang from nooses, which is eerily similar to the prediction made by George H.W. Bush to Sarah McClendon back in 1992. The difference being that today, H.W. is dead, but Hillary is still breathing, although by some accounts, just barely. And this man,
we will no longer surrender this country or its people to the false song of globalism,
is in the White House, asking questions like this. Did you ever see an investigation more in search of a crime? Total disgrace. And this, now that Russian collusion is a proven lie, when do the trials for treason begin? Keep your eyes on D5 and the updates on the Clinton Foundation investigations coming from Huber and whistleblowers, and much, much more in the month of December. And for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com.
You're going to see arrests, and then you're going to see indictments, and then you're going to see convictions. They are scared to death.